I stood behind the counter at One Pine Regional Airport, my hands shaking as I adjusted my new uniform. Just a week ago, I'd walked out of my job at the city airport, fed up with rude passengers and managers who treated me like garbage. When I saw the ad for this night shift job, good pay, quiet nights, I didn't think twice. I needed out, and this seemed like a lifeline. But now, alone in the terminal at midnight, the silence felt wrong, heavy, like it was watching me. The fluorescent lights hummed, casting sharp shadows across the floor. Simon, the night janitor, met me when I started. He was a scrawny guy with a scruffy beard and eyes that seemed to see right through you. He handed me a wrinkled piece of paper with rules scrawled in messy ink. "Follow these," he said, his voice low and serious. "Don't break them, no matter what." I thought he was messing with me, some kind of prank for the new guy, but his face didn't crack, and he walked off with his mop, leaving me alone. The rules were odd. Don't look at reflections in the windows after 2 a.m. Don't pick up the phone if it rings 3 times, and never acknowledge the passenger named Elizabeth. I shoved the list into my pocket and tried to focus on the job. Check the monitors, log flights, keep the place clean. Easy enough. The airport was small, just one runway and a few gates. No flights were scheduled until morning, so I figured I'd sit back with my coffee and coast through the night. But as the hours passed, the air got thick, like someone was breathing down my neck. I checked the clock, 1:15 a.m. The quiet wasn't peaceful, it was waiting. Then I saw her. A woman stood at the end of the terminal near Gate 3. She was too beautiful. Long black hair, pale skin, a red dress that glowed under the dim lights. She hadn't been there a second ago. My heart kicked up, but I forced a smile, thinking she was a stray passenger. "Ma'am, you need help?" I called, stepping out from the counter. She turned her head slowly, her eyes locking onto mine. They were too big, too dark, like they didn't fit her face. "I'm Elizabeth," she said, her voice soft but sharp, cutting through the air. My gut twisted. The rules screamed in my head. Don't acknowledge her. I froze, swallowed hard, and turned back to the counter, acting like I hadn't heard. She didn't move, but I felt her eyes drilling into me. The clock hit 2 a.m., and the lights flickered. I kept my eyes on the monitors, following the rule about avoiding the windows. But out of the corner of my eye, something moved in the glass. A tall, thin shape that didn't look human. My pulse hammered, but I didn't look. I gripped the counter, staring at the scratched wood, telling myself it was just nerves. The air turned cold, and a faint whisper brushed my ear like someone was standing right behind me. I spun around, but the terminal was empty, just shadows stretching across the floor. Simon came out of nowhere, pushing his mop. "You're holding up," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Just stick to the rules." I wanted to demand answers. What was this place? Why did it feel so wrong? But my throat locked up. "What's with the rules?" I finally asked. He stopped mopping, leaning on the handle. "This airport's old," he said. "Older than it should be. Things happen here at night. Things that don't like being noticed. The rules keep you alive." He glanced at the clock. "Brace yourself, it gets bad at 3. I didn't know what he meant, but there was no time to ask. The phone on the counter rang once, twice. I reached for it, then stopped, remembering the rule. Don't answer if it rings 3 times. It rang a 3rd time, then went silent. My hands were shaking as I checked the monitors. The screens glitched, showing static for a second before a new flight popped up, unscheduled. Flight 000, landing at 3 a.m. My stomach churned. No planes were supposed to land tonight. At 3 a.m., a low rumble shook the terminal. I broke the rules and looked out the window. A plane sat on the tarmac, black and red, its shape all wrong. Too long, too narrow. The engines were off, but the air hummed with something I couldn't hear, something that crawled up my spine. A figure stood near the plane, tall and shrouded in shadow. I couldn't see its face, but it turned toward me and my chest tightened, like the air was gone. I ducked behind the counter, my heart pounding so hard I thought it'd burst. Simon's voice hissed from nearby. "Don't look at it," he said. "Stay down and don't move until it's gone." I crouched there, my breath ragged, waiting. A shadow passed over the counter, long and twisted, not human. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would leave. Time dragged, each second heavier than the last, until the pressure in the air lifted. I peeked out. The plane was gone, the tarmac was empty. Elizabeth was back, closer now, maybe 10 feet away. She smiled, her teeth too perfect, too sharp. "You're doing well," she said, her voice wrapping around me like fog. I turned away, my hands trembling as I fumbled with the logbook, pretending to write. She didn't move, but I felt her there, like a weight on my chest. The rules were my lifeline, so I stuck to them, ignoring her until she melted into the shadows. The rest of the night was a haze of terror. Footsteps echoed from empty halls. The monitors showed gates that weren't there. Once, I saw my own face in the coffee machine's reflection, but it wasn't me, it was screaming. I followed the rules, every one, even when my brain screamed to run. Simon checked on me again, his face grim. "You're almost through," he said. "Dawn's coming." When the first light of morning hit the windows, the air shifted like a storm had passed. A black van pulled up outside, and 3 guys in dark suits stepped out, carrying rifles. They didn't look at me, just swept through the terminal, checking corners and talking into radios. Simon appeared beside me. "They come every morning," he said. "They can't stop it, but they try to keep it contained." I asked what it was, but he just shook his head. "You'll figure it out if you stay." They left me a thick envelope of cash, more money than I'd ever seen. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a job. It was a ritual, a test that had been running for years, maybe decades. The airport wasn't just a place, it was holding something ancient, something that didn't belong. I thought about quitting, going back to the city, dealing with angry passengers and jerk bosses. But the money was good and the rules, they worked. I survived. So I stayed. Every night I face Elizabeth, the plane, the shadow. I follow the rules and I survive. The fear never leaves, but it's better than the misery I left behind. This terror, at least, I can handle.